So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be moving ahead to our next conversation. Now, future of banking and financial services, AI-driven transformation. Now, let's, from technology perspective, go to a practitioner perspective. With this, ladies and gentlemen, for panel 3, our first speaker and panelist is Rujuta Kene, who is a banking and financial services consultant with over 25 years of work experience in consulting, technology, commercial and investment banks, central banks in India, USA, UK, Japan, Mexico, Vietnam, UAE, and Saudi Arabia. Let's give it a warm round of applause as we welcome Rujuta on the stage. We'd also like to go upon calling upon a seasoned finance and fintech professional, Mr. Sanjay Phadke, who brings in more than 20 years of experience, currently serving as an EVP and head of global platforms at Vayana Network. He began his career at JP Morgan and has held senior leadership roles at Edelweiss Financial Services, IDFC, and HSBC, to name a few. Thank you so much, Mr. Phadke, for joining us. Once again, we'd like to remind you all the opinions and comments from the speakers are personal and they do not represent the firm point of view. So we just like that disclaimer to be put out once again. We'd also like to welcome Harshit H. Jain, who's the founder and CEO of Sigma Advisory, a boutique consulting firm that advises banks, NBFCs, fintechs, and IT companies. He's somebody who brings over 3 decades of experience across the banking and technology domain. Let's give him a warm round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. We'd also like to warmly welcome on stage Sarthak Nagia, who's an experienced leader in financial services sector, currently serving as a head of NBFC operations at Findoc. He did join us for the lamp lighting as well. He's somebody who's got a strong background in retail, lending, and consumer finance with his expertise in managing operations and customer service. Let's give him a warm round of applause as we welcome him. Thank you, Sarthak. We also would like to invite Vinay Hinge, ex-CIO of DMart. He headed the IT function at DMart during its phase of becoming the fastest growing deep discount retail chain in Western India. Do we have Vinay with us in the room? Okay, Vinay is not here right now. All right, allow me an opportunity to move ahead to our next speaker, Sandeep Singh, who's an interim chairperson of the Board of Governors at the Indian Institute of Management, Kashipur. Do we have Mr. Singh amongst us? All right, we're going to be moving ahead to our next speaker, Dr. Amit Andre, who's a renowned digital transformation expert, a public speaker, and CEO of Data Tech Labs, Inc. He's somebody who specializes in AI and data science and has over 21 years of experience. He has trained over 3.2 million IT professionals globally and has received various awards. Let's warmly welcome him to the platform. Thank you so much, Dr. Amit, for joining in. And for the moderator, ladies and gentlemen, we bring to you an independent director at Avasara Finance Limited. She serves on the board and has extensive experience in the BFSI domain. With that, let's give it a warm round of applause as we welcome Jaya Janardhan. And thank you so much, Jaya, for joining in and being with us as our moderator. We'd like to leave it in her able hands to curate it forward.
Hi. Good morning. And I think after the earlier 2 panels, this is going to be quite, pressure for making sure that it is a good panel discussion that we have and the team and everybody in the room takes away good learnings. Yesterday, I came across a very nice statement which was quoted in the Harvard Business Review, and I think it's a very apt for our, today's session and also the future. It says AI won't replace humans, but humans with AI will replace humans without AI. I think that's a very, very apt, apt statement for what's happening today in the world of technology and AI. So while we spoke about banking and financials and we spoke about technology, I think one of the huge challenges that all of us come across as practitioners, and all of us are practitioners over here, how do we handle the entire ecosystem of change of AI in the industry, in the financial service industry? And thus, I'll now, kind of let's our panel talk about a few critical questions that I have thought that everybody will benefit. Sarthak, I'm just coming to you because I think some of the work that your organization has done. How do you see BFSI using AI in organization strategy for technology, transformation, customer experience, and the risk space? How do you think the whole ecosystem is changing in this space with respect to AI?
Thanks, Jaya. I represent the list of shadow banks in India. I mean, since yesterday, we've been hearing about banks and large organizations talking about AI. In the lending space, in the NBFC space, as a practitioner of artificial intelligence, the biggest challenge right now is not what is available in AI. One of the biggest challenges is how to use AI in your day-to-day use cases in the organization. I think we've kind of not been able to, as of now, fully understand that. Number two is to understand the landscape of change that it can bring to your organization. And the third is to get the best commercial deals around it. So the actual challenge today is to actually implement artificial intelligence in your organization and do it in a timely manner so that before the next technology hits you, you are able to get benefit out of it. To answer your question, Jaya, I mean, this is like talking about risk, digital transformation, customer experience. I think artificial intelligence can completely eradicate the requirement of humans for doing analytics. We are in an organization where we do digital lending, where time and accuracy is of importance. And that is where you are able to make money out of business. Let's talk about business perspective. If you are able to understand a customer and the various data sets available at that point of time through your available pipes and engines, and take a decision to a customer to lend or not to lend and how much to lend is a game for you. And you multiply that with the number of transactions in a day, in a week, in a month, then you talk about what is your NPA, what is your ROI and all that. This is where the whole crux lies. And as a business user, as a head of the organization, for any lending organization, it's important to understand that not only are your employees able to understand AI the way technologies want you to understand, also understand that is the customer going to benefit from it. Ultimately, you are trying to solve the customer use cases, not your own. So if I'm able to lend to a segment of Maharashtra or Arunachal Pradesh or Meghalaya, where most of the banks and NBFCs are maybe not prevalent, if I'm able to lend to a new to credit customer, then it's a use case for me. If it is not fully done, then it's more of understanding, trying to implement your cost efficiencies within the organization, reducing manpower, talking about customer experience. But ultimately, you have to ensure that customer is getting benefited at the lowest cost and the highest accuracy from a lender's perspective. And last, very quickly, just to answer your point, how does it affect customer experience? So customer experience is just not about taking calls on the call center and resolving the QRC, query, request, or complaints. It's about actually talking beyond the top of the pyramid, which is customer delight. Everybody, even 13, 14-year-old understand that it's a bot talking to you or it's a digital AI. Youngers in your family are more equipped about AI than anybody else. It's about getting that personal touch. See, बहुत interesting चीज़ है. One is that you are trying to commoditize a technology. At the same time, the user of technology wants to also see a personal touch. अभी बीच में कैसे आने का? Simple language में जैसे बात करते हैं बॉम्बे में. That is where a new technology has to understand that the person should not be able to judge you कि यार ये तो AI, I don't talk to an AI. He or she should be able to understand कि you are able to solve for me. Backend में it's an AI or a HI, doesn't matter. And that's how you have to look at it.
Thank you, Sarthak. I think one of the points that I would like to add on what you said is, and this is out of a very personal experience, most of the product companies, when they go to a financial institution, And I think that's a little slight change that all of us in the industry need to look at. We actually say this is a product and adopt your process according to the product. It is not the reverse way around. And that's why the need for a practitioner to understand the organization and build products accordingly so that the adaptability is there, which is something I think most of the product companies should start using it very, start looking at it a little more efficiently. So now we all heard the last two panel talking about data, technology, and needing to have the right technology. So what I'll ask you, Rutuja, is that see, we all know that we need to have a very strong infrastructure. And if you don't have a strong infrastructure, then the data and the AI that we're talking about really doesn't work, because that's the whole basis of the whole thing. How do you think that and when a practitioner talks about it, it's largely from an outside-in view of how the whole organization needs to be ready. What's your view about the infrastructure readiness that needs to have an organization to be an AI, to be AI ready?
Hello. First and foremost, thanks for having me. I will focus on the data side of things, because last two sessions we heard that people are saying that data is new oil, data is electricity, data kal bhi tha, aaj bhi hai, kal bhi rahega, right? So it's going to be it's eternally, and it is absolutely foundational. So if we look at infrastructure point of view, on one side it's going to be the technology infrastructure about the applications we have, various solutions which are going to have. But what underpins what we want to achieve through AI is the data, right? And when we look at the data, we have been for the type of data which we have done, let me step back. So we have done a lot of work on the data side through digital transformation and to get the analytics right? But now when we look at the data needs, right? And let me state this also. Each organization is at a different level on the data spectrum. Some are more ready, some are not so ready. So the view is going to be different depending on where you stand on your data readiness, right? First, the thing which we should have been doing and we must do is we have to be extremely regimental about the data. Let me focus our conversation on the data architecture side of things. So we know when we talk of data, there are four main important things. One is velocity, volume of data, right? The volume of data is increasing day by day with AI coming in, more and more data is coming in. Variety of data, earlier we were dealing mostly with it was numerical data or text data, right? Now the type of data is changing. It is becoming, you have to have volume, you have to have voice, you have to have voice, you have to have the video data, the audio data. So the nature of data, the variety of data also is changing. Then if we look at the velocity of data, right? So it is coming very, very fast. And then we have to look at, so we have looked at volume, variety, velocity, which is again increasing day by day, and veracity of data. If the data is not reliable, I think there was conversation about whether the data is reliable or not, right? So we have to ensure the data is reliable. So with these four things, we also have to look at what is the data life cycle, right? Right from what are the sources of data, how we are validating the data, how we are storing the data. We have to ensure the data redundancy, because with AI, one of the challenges is going to be whatever data we use, the agents are going to have access to the data, right? And with that access, there's a possibility of data getting contaminated, right? So we have to ensure that the data is protected, right? It goes in right hand. Of course, it has to be made accessible to the users, and depending on whatever the use case is, we have to make right data, but it has to be on need to know or as required data, no blanket access, right? So all these things, they have to be put in place. And also we have to, so lot of things which we were doing earlier with data, we continue to do that, but then we have to think what are those incremental things because of AI and as well as agentic AI. So what is going to change is, as I've said, type of data. Then we have to look at the new things which are coming, like with RAG into the picture, vector embeddings. So that is going to be a different type of data which is going to come into the picture, right? The other thing is synthetic data. Earlier, because agents are going to have access to data, we have to rely more on synthetic data so that PI or the personal data doesn't get exposed, right? So how do we store that synthetic data? So these are the different things we have to consider. There's a lot more to data, and it's very difficult to capture it in these 3 minutes. But data is essential, and you have to, it's foundational, and we have to, as I said, be very regimental about ensuring that quality data is available, and that data could be transactional, it could be reference, it could be external data. So all that data is available and to use to right set through right channels. That is what my take is on data.
Thank you. I think most organizations, especially in the BFSI, actually that's a crux of the struggle that they all have, to keep a very strong infrastructure to make sure that the data is right, quality-wise it is right, so that the outcome that the AI is able to, what you expect the AI to delivers well. So I think one of the critical pieces from a practitioner perspective that most of them need help, and most of the organizations need help, is how do you clean your data and have a strong data-based infrastructure to ensure that AI is successful.
Yeah, this all the one point which was left out. So to ensure that data governance is absolutely important.
Data governance,
right?
that's the right word.
And, yeah, okay.
Now, coming to Sanjay, one point that I think we've been hearing consistently and all the time is about generative AI and about agentic AI. And I think it's being used all over. I'm not too sure how ready are the BFSI segment to actually welcome the agentic AI over the generative AI, because I think most of them are now kind of most settled with the generative AI concept. But from an agentic AI perspective, could you share some visibility about how that's going to change the BFSI industry?
Sure. So I think the change is going to be massive. It's something that we can't even imagine, in my view. But before we come to that, let me just try and make this a little more engaging for the audience as well. So, we are talking about AI practitioners, or actually partitioner, as the thing says. But yeah, practitioners.
I think there's a mistake there.
That's fine. I think a little bit of fun. So let me ask a couple of questions. When we talk about practitioner, right? Who's really an AI practitioner, right? So I have like 3 questions, and you can answer, including anybody here. So first is, do you see the difference between traditional AI, ML, and the Gen AI, which you talked about, right? Which started in October 22. So all of those who think that it's different, please raise your hand. Or is it just AI? AI is the same and Gen AI is the same. We'll come to agentic AI after that.
Yes.
Very few, okay. Second question, how many have worked with a GPU? Either purchased a GPU or worked with a GPU in your corporate setup? Again, very few. Third question, how many have used a model? We're talking about models, LLMs, 3LM, somebody said, whatever. How many have used a model in your own environment, which means a local model? Yeah. Again, a few hands. right? So this actually is the state of AI in actually India, right? We actually have very few practitioners, to be frank. I mean,
Yeah.
in some sense, and
Yeah.
I think we really have to do a lot to get to that massive potential, and the potential is humongous. Now, coming to the agentic AI, I think agentic AI takes it from the Gen AI, which I believe changed the world completely from the traditional ML and AI. Uh, the, ch- the agentic part takes it to what is an agent, right? Agent is an autonomous agent. There is an autonomy involved, which we can't get to till we have actually mastered obviously the traditional AI ML, the generative aspect, and then on top the autonomy aspect. And we keep talking about, you know, self-driving cars and all of that, and we think that it's all very different from the agent autonomy. It's actually one and the same thing. It could be autonomy of a drone. It could be our autonomy of an agent which is talking to a, you know, call center, a bank call center, taking decisions on the go, looking at a bunch of pieces of data and so on and so forth. So I think there are, like, we can go from where we are to like what is called as AGI or ASI. It's certainly that it's something that is possible, but there are a few hindrances. And especially when we talk about India, I think there are some more additional pieces. So some of the earlier speakers talked about the siloed data aspect, right? And that's very big actually. That's huge because without having the data infrastructure, and the other speaker talked about that as well, there is no way we can get to even traditional ML, right? Forget about the generative aspect or the agentic aspect. So getting the data ready is really the breaking the silos in some sense across an organization, across branches, across different systems. Somebody said yesterday, I was there are 200 systems that a bank has. Like, that's a recipe for a disaster from a Gen AI or agentic AI perspective. I'll keep it short.
Please, please go ahead. I think that's a lot of value add that. Please go ahead.
Yeah. So another minute, that's it. Second is, so I've kind of been thinking about this. So what are the hindrances? So it's like SPDP. I come from Pune. So there's something which is very, very famous about Pune called SPDP. Those from Pune would know.
Yeah.
So the second is P. The P is the, you know, part about the privacy. So we talk about privacy which is good for, you know, for the risk management framework, for the overall society and so on. But that privacy and the rules related to privacy, the DPDP Act has, the rules are yet to come, but we'll see when the rules come. That may make the siloed data even more siloed, right? Or we have to be really creative to figure out how to bring the data together, despite them being in separate silos, but still coming together to be able to create inference. So that's the second P. Then third is the D part, right? When we talk about the data coming together, the data centers, right? So we're talking about where is that data? We talk about data localization now, right? So we talk about data centers being in India, but is the inference actually happening in India? You know, so in BFSI, having that data localization is very important from strategic reasons. But are our data centers today capable of having the data being actually processed, computed, and inferred in India, right? That's something that is a big challenge right now. And I think not enough work is happening on that. So that's the third, like S, P, D, and then the fourth P is the platform, right? Even if we have the data centers, like we have, I think, 1.6 gigawatt of data centers in India, which is likely to go to 7 or 8 gigawatt in next 3-4 years. So we are adding what we have data centers already every year, which is massive. But then today, as we speak, like a practitioner, I can tell you that if we want to use advanced models in India, the data centers in India do not support the advanced models. So if you want to actually do top quality work in India, looking at the regulations that you want to actually be absolutely compliant with them. So you want to keep the data in India, you want to do inference in India, then the models that you get today are something like 1 billion parameters model, which is like prehistoric days in AI terms from a Gen AI perspective. So if we happen to have solutions for all this, and all people in this room are very sort of experienced people, Dr. Narendra, thanks for giving this opportunity. I think we can all find solutions, but there are massive problems, but more importantly, there are massive opportunities. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Thanks. Amit, coming to you with respect to, I think there's a lot of discussion around human intuition and the alignment that to the, the insights that come from AI. How do you think the future looks like of both these things working together in the BFSI space?
Yeah, as we have been hearing since morning, the first and the foremost activity which we all should understand when it comes to artificial intelligence is AI is all about mindset. So that's where human intelligence come into the picture. We all should be able to identify what is AI and what is not AI. What can be achieved with the AI and what cannot be achieved with the AI. What should AI achieve and what shouldn't be an AI. Once that clarity is maintained and achieved, and that's where the further action item for practitioners like us come into the picture, where we then define the value what AI is bringing onto the table when it comes to BFSI as a segment. So let's take a very basic example, a customer 360-degree dashboard. A very fundamental customer 360-degree dashboard gives a perspective of sentiment analysis of a customer, gives a perspective of derivative analysis to the bank, gives the perspective of financial derivative components to the strategic decision maker or the product owners. So a single dashboard having artificial intelligence getting derived with synthetic intelligence towards generative AI, generative artificial intelligence, having agents built on the top of generative artificial intelligence with the help of prompt engineering, with the help of context engineering, with the help of sentiment and behavioral analysis, pattern analysis, which is done, and then building autonomous agent on the top of it. So this entire cycle will be effective into the BFSI segment only if at each step we are able to derive value which it is bringing on to a bank or a BFSI company. And if that value is not visualized or not envisioned before adopting artificial intelligence, there would always be a challenge of whether AI would be able to do something or not. And that is why when we derive or when we create service portfolios with Indian and as well as overseas banks with the help of artificial intelligence, in addition to the vision and human intelligence, we always capitalize human intelligence, which is added on to the artificial intelligence, and the derivative, which is an outcome of these two, is the new ROI for any bank which comes into the picture.
Absolutely, yeah. I think the conflict of the human intuition and the AI-derived insights is always at a crux, right? Because it's like whether you need to get emotions or whether you need to look at the outcome. Harshit, I think this is very relevant for the space that you're in. What's the conversation in the boardroom with respect to AI? It's a very interesting point because a few days back I was one of the panelists and I was asked the same question. So now it makes me nice to ask you this question. What's the discussion in the boardroom with respect to AI?
Thanks, Jaya, and thanks to the organizers for having me here. In my career, I have had the chance to be a banker as well as a technology person, so I'm going to wear both the hats. And I actually find, I'll share some few real-life examples just to illustrate a few points here. One, I think AI is that buzzword where everyone in the board, whether they understand, don't understand, they want the bank to do AI, right? It's a given, right? And I say that with a sense of responsibility here because AI is not a topic that can be simply understood by everyone, right? I mean, so typically in a bank board, you have people who have white hair, aged, and whose love for technology and insights of technology may not be that great. Practically, when I see from a vendor point of view, when there are high value proposals that are there which go to the board, now that is where from AI, from new technology, the speed is important, right? But the proposal gets stuck because the people at the board, because the amount being spent is large, and let's say there's a GPU, cost being incurred, which is large, so decision making takes long time. Now, it's understood, right, that they will take long time because it's a huge spend. Now, that is where one of the things that I have been actually going ahead and working on is really to be like a trusted advisor for board members. Because unfortunately, they're in a situation where they cannot go ahead and open up being ignorant about a topic that is a hot topic, right? So, and not just the board level, even the CXOs, right? Some of the CEOs, I mean, they are supposed to be running the bank, but they're also expected to be like an all-rounder, like a Bumrah is expected to go do batting as well, right? Now, that will not come naturally to every CEO, but they're expected to be all-rounders, right? Now, that is something that you have to really think about, and that is the sweet spot that I'm trying to go ahead and occupy, which is to be, कुछ भी चीज़ आपको नहीं समझ में आ रही है, आप मुझे पूछो. Because see, at senior level, they are a bit hesitant to go ahead and openly ask some things which they feel, it's too basic to ask. I mean, they could call the CEO and ask the same questions, but थोड़ी नाक कट जाएगी उसमें, right? So, that's a real challenge, and I'm just being very open about it because it is something that we expect the board members to go ahead, make all the right decisions, make those decisions quickly, but how can they do so if they don't understand it well enough, right? So we have to think about it, right? Education of the board members, I think, is a starting point. And some of the banks, not somebody who I'm working with, but I have known banks who mandatorily go ahead and have board members go and attend basic programs on AI, right? In the comfort of only board members are coming to attend. ऐसा नहीं है कि a CIO is also attending the same session as a board member, because board members should feel free to ask basic questions in the company, august company of the other board members, so that everyone is able to clear the doubts in a free and open manner. So that is one point that I just wanted to go ahead and say. Second, we all talked about data. I mean, I have been a customer, and I realize time is up, but please give me a couple of minutes just to share a few things. I've been a customer of one of the largest banks, private sector banks in India, and I have failed to go ahead and be addressed as Mrs. Harshit Jain, because for some reasons at the time of data entry of my account opening, gender code has been entered as F. Now all our intelligent systems on the ATM, I'll find myself, welcome Mrs. Harshit Jain. And believe me, and some of you I'm sure would have had that experience, you can't really go ahead and change that on a phone call. Phone banking, you can't. I tried through a relationship manager, you have to go to the branch. Now in today's age and world, going to the branch, finding parking, all of that is not something very, very easy. I'm just saying banks have to really go ahead
Mr.
and think
Jain,
about how can they make it
apologies, time is up. We just request one final thought from you, please.
Okay. One last thing, and again, I'm drawing not from banking over here, but I find aviation and hotel industry, hospitality industry to be ones that are really leading. I think Sarthak talked about the customer delight aspect. Banking has always been a very personal sort of a thing. It's become impersonal thanks to technology. So how can you get the person back in banking? And that is where one small thing, and this is a real life so that you'll be able to relate to it. Marriott Hotel, head of marketing, having a meeting with the IT people, saying, I want a simple answer. When a customer comes to one of my Marriott hotels, I should be able to have the receptionist say, welcome back, Mr. Harshit. Just, if I've been a customer, I should have welcome back. If I'm a new customer, welcome Mr. Harshit. Simple thing. And the IT people said it'll take 9 months and it'll take $50 million. And surprise, surprise, the guy, marketing head, goes to a Marriott hotel where he's staying, and he said, welcome back. And he's very zapped. How did this receptionist know, welcome back? And he said, we have a technology, right? It's the Wing technology. When you are walking in from the reception, the person is having a small talk with you. They say, is the first time? No, I've been here before. He winks to me, saying he's a new repeat customer. I mean, we have to go ahead in the world of AI, look at common sense. Look at how we can go ahead and use that.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Apologies, we'll have to intervene because we're really delayed on time on this session. Ladies and gentlemen, with this, we have Dr. Narendra who's here. If he can do us the honor of giving a token of appreciation. Yes, if we could once again have Shri Muralidhar. Thank you so much. Pawan is there with us joining in for this as well. Do we have Pawan? All right. So ladies and gentlemen, on that note, Once again, a big, big thank you to each and every one of you. For all the ones in the room, we're now declaring a quick coffee and tea break. Of course, since we had a delayed stopover for this session, we're giving a headway of another 15 minutes. So we'll resume back at 12:10 IST. So please do join us back then. Our next 3 sessions will be 30 minutes each of the panel. So stay tuned before we move ahead with the next one. So ladies and gentlemen, on the other side of the tea and coffee break, we have the future of insurance supercharging strategy with AI. We request your presence back at 12:10 instead of 12. Thank you so much. A 15 minutes tea and coffee break. Thank you.